Hey guys, today I'd like to share with you how to gas your way up to a 7-figure per year income. Let's do this. Now, this sounds really fake. This sounds really, I don't know, like I'm aligned with the universe. But as I was coming out of my condo, that's my condo there. Do not come and stalk me. But as I came out of my condo, I took the corner. I like to do these little content videos. I'm doing quotes for those of you listening, or podcasts if you're listening. You're not going to see this, but I'm going to flip my camera really quickly. And I was thinking of the topic, my new acronym, GAS, how to gas your way up to a 7-figure per year income. I'm credible. I've done it. I'll share with you exactly how to hit that income and how to use the GAS acronym. But I'm going to flip my camera, and this is a little unbelievable. Check this out. Okay, there we go. Oh, 2 squirrels. I'm not even kidding. For those of you listening, you won't see this, but I'm literally pointing at my condo. I just came out of it for my walk, and I'm pointing here, and check this out. There's a little flag in my neighbor's lawn that says GAS, G-A-S. As I keep walking, 2 more flags that say GAS. Okay, let me flip the camera back for those of you watching. Pretty crazy stuff, right? They're kind of all over the street right here in this area. So yes, I would like to talk about my GAS acronym. It came to me yesterday. First of all, thanks for tuning into the Life Hacks with the Wealthy Trainer podcast. If you are watching me live on YouTube, come on in. I'll get started. It appears that no one really showed up. 3 people appear to be coming in, so I'm going to get kicked off. A lot of yous will catch the replay or hear the podcast episode. Working on my intro for multi-platform use. So I was talking to I guess you can say a co-worker, a peer. You know, I don't really consider my clients peers anymore, because I learn from them as well. I think I sometimes, or should I say, I often learn from them more than I give, or it feels that way at times. But yesterday, I had a stroke of genius. I don't know if it'd be a stroke of genius. Really quickly, here's what I'm talking about. I'm really trying to cut on my squirrely moments, even though 2 squirrels literally just ran by us on camera here. If you're watching, I'm trying to cut down on my squirrely moments, but my intro is always a little sloppy, trying to get into the groove of these podcasts / videos. Hello, video people. And it's something I've been doing, and something I've kind of perfected to a certain point, which is the GAS acronym. And this podcast, this piece of content, will be tailored towards income, towards wealth, towards money. Sometimes maybe I should clarify that, because I'm always learning. I'm always trying to be clear for the first-time listeners or first-time viewers. And I called this podcast Life Hacks because the life hacks that I really truly focus on are usually wealth or health. Then I'll throw in some random stuff, which is maybe mindset or lessons learned or life experiences. But today we're going to talk about the wealth portion of it, because in this day and age, you need financial wealth to get to that next level. Okay, I've said my piece. I've been very fortunate to be single, not married, and not have any children. As odd as that sounds, I love the fact that I've been able to self-isolate before self-isolation was a thing. Before the virus, I set myself up to be in a self-quarantined, I guess, situation. And I've been able to spend a lot of time figuring out how to earn a 7-figure income. I think I hit that about 4 years ago. So along the way, it's been kind of like just a lot of guesswork. What I found was that the leaders that were generating this income never really revealed how they were doing it, or they were just kind of adapting as well, same as me. So here's what GAS stands for. Oh, there's some music in the background. Oh, someone's having a party in the backyard. Big time. There's a live band. I don't know if that's okay. For those of you watching the replay, we are, oh my goodness, we're right into the virus, the coronavirus. It's, we're April 4th or 5th today. I believe we are April 5th, Sunday. So let me go on. I just saw another squirrel go by, and the squirrely moment went with it. GAS. Here's how I was able to hit a 7-figure income, and I will soon hit an 8-figure income. Saying that seems so weird to say. Because first of all, I work in my pajamas, I work from home, I work in my flip-flops, and that's professional athlete money we're talking about. As a matter of fact, those of you watching, there is a basketball hoop right there. That's professional athlete money when you start talking that kind of money. How can one person make this happen? Well, let's begin here with the G. Would you guys like to know? Well, there's not enough people tuning in right now on the live, so I'm just going to tell you what the acronym is. Then I'll go into a little more detail on how to implement it. G is the grind. A is automation, and S is scale. GAS. GAS your way to a 7-figure income. So let's talk about the grind, let's talk about the automation, and let's talk about the scaling. Now I want you to think of this as kind of like they're prerequisites. You must complete the G before you get to the A. You must complete the A before you get to the S. Now, when I say complete, I don't mean just get it done. You must have it working. You cannot scale something that isn't automated, and you cannot automate something that isn't working through your efforts of the grind. I'm going to use an actual concrete example. Actually, would you like to use concrete as an example? If you sell concrete, what can we use as an example? Want to use a product? Want to use a service? Or would you like to fill in the blank? We must start here. You can use a digital product. You can use a service such as coaching, a service such as, I don't know, a subscription model. Let's keep it simple. If you're in business and you're an entrepreneur and you want to make money, you must exchange something for money. Let's start there. Want to call it a widget? You're selling widgets? Let's go there. Let's sell something. You have to sell more of them, and you have to sell enough of them to generate $1 million per year. Very hard for one person to do that. Here's a very, how would I say this? A very bright disclaimer. There's a lot of people there with the self-quarantine. I'm going to take a random turn here for those of you watching. So here's the bright side of all this. But by applying the GAS, the grind, the automation, and the scaling, this is accomplished by one person. No collaborations and not leveraging anyone else. This is why this content is very near and dear to me. Side note, I'm going to take a side note. I've had collaborations in my days. I've partnered up with people in my days. I've joined companies where I had sales teams and I tried to transfer the knowledge, and my income depended on their actions. And it's not for me. It's not for me. I understand fully that I am sacrificing my income in order to work alone. So if I had a team and it was duplicating, or if I trained salespeople, I understand that that's how you grow a huge empire. However, have I cut corners? I figured out ways to do the best I can alone, because that's how I roll. So maybe that's a good disclaimer for you. Maybe you're more of a team person. Maybe you like to work with others. In this case, it's how to gas your way to 7 figures with one person, because I've done it and I will continue to do it. And next year I will call my video, the retake, a video or audio or podcast. I will do a retake of this, a second version, and I will call it Gas Your Way to 8 Figures, because that's what the S in gas will do, the scale. Oh, a lot of ramble, but it just rolled off the tongue, and I kind of like to do this way. Joe Rogan is my inspiration for a ton of ramble. And if it's okay with Joe Rogan, if it's good enough for Joe, it's good enough for Mark. So, grind. Before you can automate anything, let's be very clear. If you're selling something, we must do it in a presentation format. If you're selling something, you're presenting it, whether it's on the telephone, whether it's on a video, whether it's on a video call, whether it's in person. There is a presentation to your sale. We need to make that digital. Let's start there. So in order for your presentation to be automatable and scalable, the A and the S in gas, in order for it to be able to do that, it must be in a digital format. So whatever it is you're selling, you must create a presentation on a video conferencing tool such as Zoom or Skype or a webinar software. That's your grind. Why is it a grind? Because you will have to manually invite people. Yes, you will. One by one by one. Will you come to my presentation? Will you check it out? And if you're asking yourself, well, I just want to record it and I want to automate it and scale it. You don't want to automate something that's not working. We call it the grind phase, because this is where you have to put in the dirty work, the leg work, the grind work. You have to, I don't care if you make calls. I don't care if you contact your friends. I don't care if you reach out to your Facebook or social media contacts. You have to get people to show up on your presentation until, and you have to do it live, until your presentation actually sells, until you sell a product or service. If you're not able to sell on a non-automated thing, don't automate the thing. You must create a presentation. It's very clear here. You must create a webinar, preferably, or a Zoom presentation with a handful of people until you could sell at least a couple of widgets. Okay? The grind is the hardest part. It really is. Now what happens is, once you do sell some things, in order to sell some things, you will have to create various presentations. You will have to maybe show the product first, then share stories, share your story first. You know the script. You have a script. If you don't have a script, if you don't have a presentation blueprint or framework, you have to just fail until you make sales. You have to invite new people. If the first one doesn't sell, you can do that, or you can do follow-ups and get people to show up at a second presentation. You have to get creative. You have to fail quite a few times before you get the G in gas, the grind phase, to click. That's why it's called the grind phase. You got to grind. Once you make a couple of sales, you're ready. You're ready to start moving on to the A, because every phase will always be a testing phase. So your G in gas, your grind phase, that's going to be where the most tests take place, because you have to sell the thing. Now, once you have it selling, this is where you must automate, because you're already ahead of the curveball through the grind, because you're not presenting on a one-on-one basis. You're getting a bunch of people to show up at your presentation. And now, I've been doing this for a while. I've made several millions of dollars online selling things, and I have never met someone online, in person. I don't know if you guys know this. My name is Marc Lalonde, thewealthytrainer.com. You can check out my stuff. I have never met someone in person and sold to them in person. It's always been digitally, and sometimes it was one-on-one digitally, but I've been prepared for social distancing for a long time. I've been doing it anyways. So that was kind of a little side note, but not really. I mean, you're still going to get people to show up at a digital presentation. Okay, I think we got the grind part. We don't have the grind part figured out, because that's your issue. That's your responsibility. The only way you're going to get the perfect recipe is by failing. I've already said that. Now, here's where a lot of people get stuck. They continue to invite to a successful presentation. So if they're selling a certain amount of widgets, services, whatever, we'll continue with the widgets theme. If they continue to sell a certain amount of widgets every Friday, and then during the week they work at inviting people onto the next Friday's widget selling meeting, and they continue to sell more widgets and more widgets and more widgets, they've got themselves a business. There's no doubt about that. But it will be extremely difficult to hit that 7-figure income, especially by your lonesome. Okay? Still a good business. Still a good business model, because you're digital and you're doing a presentation to many. Now here's where automation comes in. I'm gonna rip back the curtain. I mean, I don't want this to go on much longer, this piece of content or this podcast, but this is where you pre-record your presentation to appear live. There are different levels of doing this. I will tell you what I do. Once I have a presentation in the grind phase that is selling, I will do it live I'll do it live for a couple of months before I find a winner. Once I have a winner, or a pretty good converting presentation, then I automate it by recording one, plugging it into a software such as, it's really what it is, it's an automated webinar software that appears to be live. And on the software that I use, and that many 7 and 8 and even 9-figure earners use, they can save the chats from previous webinars. So now what's happening is they just invite people to an automated presentation, and they don't even need to be there. This is when they go from P to P. They go from the present to the promote. So your whole time and energy is spent in promoting your webinar or your presentation, because now it's automated. You do not have to be there. That is crazy. Let's go an extra level to that automation. We went from the G, figuring in gas. We got the G, we grinded our way to something that converts. We go to the A, automation. If you really want to tweak that, you set up ads, paid ads, to your customers, clients, prospects of interest. Not very hard to do with a little bit of tweaking, but here's the beautiful thing. You are pointing them now to an automated presentation that you are not even live on. And if your software has the ability to save those chats, the chat gets bigger and bigger and bigger as you go. A couple of people purchase on your presentation, that is in the chat. That's documented, that gets added to. The longer your automated webinar is running, the more people seem to be there. Okay? Once you tweak your ads, you are literally adjusting your ads for better conversions. Now you're at the automation phase. That generally will get you to 7 figures. Generally speaking, it depends on the cost of your product. It depends on many things. Yeah, it really does. But generally speaking, the automation phase is when I cranked through 7 figures per year. I couldn't believe it. I'm a computer guy. I was a computer guy 5 years ago. I worked my ass off to make 150 grand, 200 grand a year. I mean, my ass off. And I was a very high-paid computer consultant. So when I started automating presentations to sell wellness products, I was like, what? What? That's what I was. So now the big S in gas. This is how I'm going to hit 8 figures. We are 2020. It still sounds weird to say. Yes, I'm a little sniffly still. It still sounds weird to say 8 figures, but that's going to be through scaling. This is where people, well, should I say some names? Let's just say some mentors of mine that I pay a lot of money to have conversations with. I guess they're at the coach level now because I can afford to get them to coach me. One of them's made $60 million last year because he is scaling his automated process. Scaling is very simple, folks. If your automated process turns $1 into $2, that's cool. Once again, you're stuck at the automation phase. You're stuck at the automation phase at that point. Now you got to get to that scale phase. Sorry, I just got distracted. I was thinking about numbers in my head as I'm speaking to you guys. You're at the automation phase. If you automate and continue to tweak those numbers, you'll do very well, but some people get comfortable in the automation phase. I feel like I'm on stage speaking. I want to just chat with you guys here. I got to just chill out, chat, and really speak my mind instead of making it sound like I'm presenting. It sounds like I'm presenting right now. So when I started scaling, this is where everything changed, because you're going to do very well with automation. You'll do extremely well. I think the most exciting thing about automation when I started automating is that you don't have to be there. And that doesn't seem real. I just told you guys in a nutshell what to do. You fill in the blanks. You'll figure it out. Believe me. This is the treasure map. Just follow what I just said in, 20 minutes. I'm going to go on 5 more minutes because scaling is the easiest part. It's the funnest part. And it's the part that people never seem to do. And I'm stuck to why they're not doing it, but I think I know why. I'm going to share my thoughts about this. I think it's self-sabotage. I think it's a mix of comfort level and they're self-sabotaging themselves. Because I've been doing that. I'll be really frank with you guys. I've been running automated webinars for a while now, sticking around between 2 and 4. My biggest year was 4 million. I dropped a lot this year because I lost my Facebook account. That's a whole other story, and there are lessons to be learned there. But scaling is when you just basically add money to your machine that turns $1 into $2. Once you get to the scale level, well, the ones who play big, play big. There are challenges when you scale though. because you may be going into a saturated niche. What do I mean by scale? I mean, if you're putting in $100 and you're getting $150 out, put in $1,000 and get $1,500 out. Put in $1 million and get 1.5 out. But you cannot scale something that is not automated, because if it's not automated, that's trading in time for money. You can't trade in time for money. So there you go. That's the path. 23 minutes. I cannot believe it. I just kind of spoke off the cuff. I think I had a couple of squirrely moments, but I'm going to the money store. Those of you that know my videos, you know where I'm going. I took a different path right now, but those of you listening on the podcast, I hope that the sound came in properly. I got my little lapel mic. We'll find out when I rewatch it. So just remember that acronym, guys, and I'll leave you with this. It's not a quote. It's really the heading to all of this. Before you scale, you must automate. Before you automate, you must grind your way to something that converts in a digital presentation format. So that's how you GAS, G-A-S, grind, automate, and scale your way to a 7-figure income. Marc Lalonde signing off. Bye-bye now. Thank you for watching or listening. I hope this content has helped you in any way, maybe motivated, inspired you. Maybe it's triggered an idea. Maybe it's gotten you out of a rut. Maybe it's simply entertained you. Listen, I'm just an ex-computer consultant guy who lost his way to drugs and alcohol and eventually became homeless. From rock bottom, I cleaned up, I clawed my way back into the workforce. I shifted into running my own business. I've been retired from the corporate world for 7 years now, and I've never looked back. If you want to follow me on my journey or maybe even connect further, you can either go to my blog at thewealthytrainer.com. That's thewealthytrainer.com, or you can click the link in the description if you're watching this video. Marc Lalonde signing off, and I'll see you on the inside. Bye-bye now.